So deep in the ocean, random doorway to another world just pops open, like someone forgot to close the portal to Monsterland. And out of this doorway come the Kaijus, which are basically Godzilla's bigger, meaner cousins. These guys are huge, and no matter what the military throws at them, nothing works. It's like trying to stop a bulldozer with a water balloon. Totally useless. Eventually, all countries realizes, okay, we're in trouble. Let's stop fighting each other for a second and work together. So they come up with a genius plan. Build giant robots to punch the monsters back to where they came from. They call these bad boys Jaegers. But these robots are so big that one person can't handle controlling them. So they need two pilots who can mind meld and share the mental load, because apparently piloting a Jaeger alone would be like trying to juggle while solving a Rubik's Cube. Now human starts winning the battle and they becomes heroes. So this goes for years, but one day, Raleigh and his brother Yanzi get sent on this pretty intense mission to fight a monster called Knifehead. Yes, it's as dangerous as it sounds. They climb into their Jaeger, which is basically a massive robot called Gypsy Danger. Raleigh and Yanzi have this super close bond, so they can control the Jaeger together because they're drift compatible. In non-robot fighter terms, it just means their minds sync up through memories, allowing them to work together perfectly, like sharing a brain, but without the awkwardness. Their boss, Marshal Stacker, specifically orders them to protect the base from the monster. But do they listen? Nope. They decide to play heroes and rush off to save 10 people who are stuck in a storm. Out of nowhere, monster bursts out of the ocean, ready to turn a fishing boat into its lunch. But just in the nick of time, Gypsy Danger rises from the water like some kind of metal superhero and swoops in to save the day, moving the boat out of danger. Then the brothers get to work, throwing some seriously strong punches at the Kaiju's face. Because hey, that's how you deal with a sea monster. They land a couple of hits, but the monster isn't giving up so easily and charges right back at them. Gypsy Danger's like, nope, and grabs Knifehead's head with a metal grip. Then the brothers get their plasma cannon ready, which is basically their version of a monster zapper. They fire, and boom, the Kaiju gets blasted so hard it flies back into the ocean like a fish trying to escape a frying pan. So, just when the brothers think they've won, the Marshal comes over the radio like, guys, the monster is not dead yet. And sure enough, Knifehead jumps out of the water again, full-on rage mode, and destroys one of Gypsy Danger's arms. Things go from bad to worse when the Kaiju grabs the Jaeger's head and rips off part of it, killing Yancy in the process. It's a total disaster. Now Raleigh is stuck piloting this giant robot all by himself. He's struggling to control the plasma cannon, while Knifehead keeps ripping their Jaeger apart, piece by piece. But Raleigh doesn't give up. He somehow pulls it together, fires a massive blast at the Kaiju, and boom, they both disappear from radar. Luckily, Raleigh survives the chaos and manages to drag Gypsy Danger back to shore. He crash lands on a beach near the base, probably feeling like he's been through a washing machine. Fast forward 5 years, and things aren't looking great. The United Nations, in all their wisdom, decides to shut down the Jaeger program because, well, the Kaijus are basically smashing the robots faster than humans can build them. So instead of fighting monsters, the bigwigs think, hey, let's just build some massive walls around the cities. Marshal Stacker is like, no way, we're not giving up that easily. He's still hanging onto the program, refusing to quit. Meanwhile, Raleigh has decided to retire from being a Jaeger pilot. Now he's working as a builder for the Coastal Wall Project, helping to put up these monster-proof walls. But here's the kicker. While they're busy building, a Kaiju comes along and smashes through one of the walls in a few hours like it's made of paper. These walls can't even stop Mexican. How can they stop giant monster? But the workers, including Raleigh, start looking at each other like, wait, why are we even doing this again? Eureka Striker, one of the newest Jaegers from Kangaroo Country, swoops in like a superhero and blasts the Kaiju with missile attacks. Boom, monster problem solved. As Raleigh steps outside after another day of building pointless walls, he's shocked to see none other than Marshal Stacker waiting for him. And he's not there to chit-chat. He wants Raleigh back in the Jaeger pilot seat. At first, Raleigh's like, nah, I'm out, man, still shaken by the memory of losing his brother in battle. But then the Marshal drops a line that's hard to argue with. Where would you rather die, building a wall or inside a Jaeger? So he has to agree. When they finally arrive in Hong Kong, Raleigh meets Mako, Marshal Stacker's adopted daughter. She doesn't seem too impressed with him, giving off some serious, I'm not a fan vibes. Then Stacker takes Raleigh on a tour of the other Jaegers. First up is Crimson Typhoon from China, piloted by triplets. They also meet Chuck and his dad Hansen, who pilot Eureka Striker. These guys have an impressive record with 11 Kaiju kills under their belts. Talk about a family business. The Marshal then lays out the big plan. They want to attach a nuclear weapon to Eureka Striker and take it straight to the portal where the Kaijus are coming from. The other Jaegers will protect them while they do this crazy mission. It's like a monster fighting party, and everyone's invited. The team then meets the brains behind the mission: Herman, the physicist, and Newton, the Kaiju biologist. Herman gets right to the point, explaining that the Kaijus are basically on a mission to wipe out humanity. They're going to keep coming, faster and in larger numbers, until we're all gone. He believes that if they can get a nuclear bomb into the portal while it's still active, they might be able to close it for good once it goes kaboom. Simple enough, right? But then Newton chimes in with his 2 cents. He's skeptical and thinks they don't really understand the Kaijus yet. According to him, all the Kaijus have identical DNA, which is a huge red flag. Like finding out your favorite ice cream is actually just a clone of a bad flavor. He suggests using the Jaeger's mind drift technology to connect with a Kaiju's mind, hoping it'll give them some insight into their enemy. Stacker decides to go with Herman's plan, mainly because he needs a quick and practical solution. Meanwhile, while everyone else is following the rules, Newton is up to some sneaky business. He sets up his lab equipment, completely ignoring the Marshal's orders, and decides to use the Jaeger's mind drift technology to link with a Kaiju's brain. As he dives into this connection, he sees a vision of the Kaiju's headquarters and confirms what he suspected. They're being grown by alien, but the connection is super intense, and it almost kills him. Herman swoops in like a superhero to save him. Phew, that was close. Raleigh is surprised but thrilled to see Mako join him as his co-pilot. He feels like he's finally found someone who can keep up with him, like finding that perfect puzzle piece after flipping the whole box upside down. They start the drifting process, which connects their minds and memory. Meanwhile, Stacker gets some big news from Herman. Newton actually succeeded in drifting with the Kaiju brain. Eager to hear what Newton discovered. And boy, is he in for a shock? Newton reveals that the Kaijus are actually weapons created by an alien race that goes around invading planets, using up all their resources, and then moving on to the next one like they're collecting stamps in a travel book. Stacker's like, okay, that's not good. He wants Newton to do another drift to gather even more intel, but for that, they need another Kaiju brain. So, Stacker gives them a contact, Hannibal Chow, a black market dealer who sells Kaiju organs. Back in the Jaeger, things start to take a nosedive. As Raleigh and Mako are drifting, Raleigh suddenly starts seeing his dead brother. It's like a ghostly family reunion he never signed up for, and it causes the energy levels to spike and the Jaeger to become super unstable. Meanwhile, Mako's memories come flooding back too. She relives the horrifying moment when her parents were killed by a Kaiju, and she's terrified. It's like opening a box of old trauma and finding a monster inside. Raleigh tries to snap her out of it, but her emotions are way too strong. In the chaos, she accidentally triggers the Jaeger's plasma cannon, which is not great for anyone's health. Thankfully, the crew is quick on their feet and manages to shut down the weapon systems just in time. They save the facility from going up in flames, but you can bet everyone's hearts were racing faster than a Kaiju on the loose. Raleigh rushes over to Mako as she wakes up from her nightmare, still looking like she's just seen a ghost. He's there to comfort her, probably thinking, I didn't sign up for emotional roller coasters when I joined the Jaeger program. Meanwhile, Newton is off on a little adventure to track down Hannibal Chow in the black market. Back at headquarters, the alarms start blaring because they detect more seismic activity. Stacker is all business and orders Cherno Alpha and Crimson Typhoon to engage the monsters, while Eureka Striker hangs back to defend the harbor. He tells Raleigh and Mako to sit in the base, cause you're not ready for battle. Long story short, these monsters attack Jaegers, and one by one every Jaeger is losing the fight, cause these guys are not main character. These monsters are stronger than previous ones. With no other options left and the situation looking grim, Stacker finally allows Raleigh and Mako to join the battle. Gypsy Danger makes a grand entrance, catching monsters' attention like a celebrity at a red carpet event. Meanwhile, another monster isn't about to let that slide and charges right toward Gypsy. But Raleigh, being the crafty pilot he is, skillfully maneuvers behind the Kaiju and destroys its weapons. Naturally, this makes Monster furious. In a fit of rage, it throws Gypsy onto the shore like it's just another beach ball. But fear not, Gypsy lands safely and charges back into the fight like a hero in a slow-motion action scene, delivering a powerful strike that makes the Kaiju think twice. Though Monster regains its balance and charges at Gypsy, Raleigh isn't having it. He holds it back like a bouncer at an exclusive club. They prepare the plasma cannon and start firing at Monster repeatedly. They finally manage to take off the Monster's arm. With all that damage piling up, Monster eventually goes unconscious. It's a satisfying victory, but the battle isn't over yet. It heads toward the Trail of Destruction, on the hunt for Otachi, another monster. Just as Otachi is about to snack on Newton, it senses something coming and turns to see Gypsy dragging a cargo ship behind it. Raleigh and Mako use the ship like it's the world's largest sword, striking the kaiju with multiple attacks. They're swinging that boat around like pros. Gypsy grabs Otachi's tongue. Meanwhile, Mako releases coolants onto the kaiju's tail, breaking it into pieces like a kid tearing up a piñata. Otachi surprises everyone by grabbing the Jaeger and unfurling its wings like a monstrous superhero. It starts slamming Gypsy into buildings, trying to toss it out of the atmosphere. Mako spots their last weapon, a sword. With a determined look, she cuts Otachi in half, like a magician splitting a lady in a box. But now it's time for the dramatic fall. Gypsy starts plummeting toward Earth, and Raleigh and Mako realize they need to act fast. They concentrate all their energy into a blast to slow their descent. They crash onto the ground, creating a massive shockwave that sends debris flying everywhere. But somehow, they emerge from the wreckage totally unharmed. It's like they just pulled off the coolest stunt in a movie and lived to tell the tale. When Raleigh and Mako return to headquarters, they're greeted like rock stars. Meanwhile, in a surprising twist, Newton discovers that one of the dead kaijus was pregnant. Yep, you heard that right. And guess what? They can use the newborn creature's brain to dive into the drift. Herman decides to join forces with Newton for one last attempt to squeeze every bit of information out of this kaiju brain before the team's final mission. They connect with the kaiju's brain and dive into its memory. Imagine scrolling through someone's embarrassing family photos, but instead, they find crucial secrets about the portal. However, things take a turn when they realize that their plan is doomed. Stacker decides it's time for a shakeup and replaces Hansen due to his injury. He's ready to jump into the cockpit himself, probably thinking he's still got the moves. Chuck says goodbye to his dad, knowing this mission might be a one-way ticket. It's like an emotional farewell at a bus station. The two remaining Jaegers dive into the ocean, heading straight for the portal. As they maneuver underwater, they realize visibility is so bad, it's like trying to find your way in a dark cave. Definitely not ideal for a thrilling mission. As they get closer to the portal, they spot two kaijus. The kaijus don't seem to care about stopping them. It's like they're just chilling, letting the Jaegers pass. Maybe they're on a coffee break. Suddenly, Newton and Herman burst into the command room like a couple of frantic squirrels, warning everyone to stop. They explain that going through the portal without the kaiju's DNA is a big no-no. They need to trick the system by entering the portal with one of the monsters, otherwise portal will not open. Before they can finish their explanation, radar picks up another signature emerging from the portal. A strangest kaiju named Slattern makes its grand entrance. Raleigh and Mako see their teammates in trouble and decide to swoop in for the rescue. But surprise, surprise, they get attacked by Scunner right off the bat. They manage to toss Scunner to the ground, until Raiju strikes from behind like a sneaky ninja and takes out one of Gypsy's arms. They point their sword at Raiju and, with some quick thinking, use the monster's momentum to slice it in half. Take that, monster. It's like a very intense version of slicing a cake. Meanwhile, Slattern isn't just sitting there looking pretty. It charges at Eureka, pushing it away from the portal like it's a toy in a playground. But the pilots aren't going down without a fight. They stab Slattern with both swords, and it lets out a scream that sounds like it just stubbed its toe. As the battle rages on, Slattern calls for backup like it's summoning its squad for a group photo. Both monsters charge at Gypsy Danger faster than a kid racing to the ice cream truck. But guess what? There's no escape in sight. So Stacker pulls a classic sacrifice the captain move. He decides to use himself as a bomb. He detonates the bomb, creating an explosion that sends water flying away like it's in a water park. Now with the path cleared, Gypsy Danger starts strutting toward the portal. But hold on, Slattern is not out of the game yet. It somehow survives the blast and gets back on its feet. But Raleigh isn't about to let that happen. Gypsy Danger pushes through the portal, dragging the monster's body along like a trophy. Mako starts to fade out. Too much excitement for one day, right? Raleigh quickly scoops her up and places her in the escape pod, firing it away like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. Safety first. Now it's Raleigh's turn to play hero. He dislodges himself from the Jaeger and heads straight for the nuclear reactor. Because what's more dramatic than setting a bomb to explode in 60 seconds? After getting everything set up, he ejects into his own escape pod, leaving Gypsy Danger to take the ultimate plunge into the kaiju's lair. The aliens watching from their comfy seats are like, what the heck is happening? They must have thought they were in a sci-fi movie gone wrong. As the reactor approaches meltdown, it finally detonates, creating a blast that's bigger than the last family barbecue explosion. The entire kaiju base goes boom, and the portal closes for good. Both Mako and Raleigh make it out alive, ready to enjoy their hard-earned victory. The crowd goes wild, and the military swoops in to rescue them. They embrace, filled with relief and triumph, like they'd just survived a roller coaster ride from hell. So what did you think of the movie? Was it a blast or just a bunch of overgrown lizards throwing tantrums? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more epic recaps. Catch you next time.